You're up, Commissioner.
Okay, Bannock County Commissioners, you're now in session. See any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Well, there are two.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the amended agenda as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, first item we have is invoices, Commissioners report, credit applications.
Would you like a new one?
I do, I just have you change one thing,
Okay.
and that's where the amount is. If we put it, we can just move it over to the edge instead of hit in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna make sure at least they formatted it for better amounts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And originally it didn't have a title or the total on it. They sent us this
Okay.
morning and got that. But if we just put this on this
Yep.
side, then it just flows.
There we go, then we'll remember.
If you look at that, like I said, I like the amount out here on the edge. when
We should
the
just
total-
be able
It's
to
easier
cut
to
that
see.
column and paste it over.
Yeah, so,
Since it's in Excel now.
okay. And other than that,
That downloads into Excel? Is that how that does?
Yeah. He had to
Is that
tweak
the
it a
crystal
little.
report that then kicks that out like that, or?
I don't know how he got it. It's, yeah, just one of our regular Tyler reports.
Okay.
He had to tweak it a little bit because it was all single spaced. So he had to do a little bit of modification to it to make it legible.
So, and just so I understand, does crystal reports suck the data out of Tyler, or does Tyler just generate the report and then?
Tyler just generates, so all of our Tyler reports can be generated in either PDF or Excel.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, it allows, but sometimes you want to do one versus the other because
Right.
it's just ugly.
Right. Okay.
Then this is a credit or application, but comes back from legal that it says that all litigation would be in Utah, so we can change that verbiage. And see what they say.
Okay.
And this one is renewal
For Spring Hill Suites,
for Spring Hill Suites.
which after I put on there, it wanted a list of who could charge rooms. So I just put that. But if you
Okay.
look at your badge, depending on how old your badge is, it doesn't say it's a Bannock County employee. So I was
Just says
going,
employee number, yeah.
the new ones in our office say employee of, and then it has their job title.
Oh, really? Yeah, this one says Bannock County.
Mine does. But if you're new, yeah, so like Braden's doesn't. So, I may, if it's okay, talk to Ames and ask if there's any way they could, instead of putting the job title, put Bannock County.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. That would make more sense.
That doesn't mean I have to get a new one, does it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, no, share business cards.
yeah.
As long as there's some proof that you're a Bannock County employee, I think it covers us. You have business cards, you have maybe other forms that tell you that.
I think so. I have a name tag, because it's sealed.
Those aren't, here were they? Those are CCOG hours.
They were just,
There's the two, no, these are different, okay. So those are just CCOG charges, and this is the manager. Okay. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the claims and invoices and the credit application as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Shut mine off.
If that's for me, I'm not here, okay?
The letter for Spring Hill Suites, would you mind handing me that?
No,
Because I'm supposed
you
to
can't
send it.
find it.
Sorry, I just remembered. He asked if I would send that to him, and then I'll just CC Christie. Or bring her back the original.
And on that, do you have a list of what facilities over there, what motels we have these with?
We do.
Could you get that and send Christie too?
We probably need to update that list before we send it,
And
but I will
that's-
have them work on it.
That was the question is, we don't know anymore.
Yeah,
If it's
and
up-
used to, departments would just call us, and we would let them know. We had sent the list out once upon a time, but I don't know that it has been updated. So, usually what we tell people is just when you call, ask. Because I know we had, I think it was a prosecutor that stayed at Sun Valley Resort, and he paid with his personal credit card. Got to pay tax on it. Because you can't be tax exempt unless you use either direct bill or a county credit card. So that's why we prefer one of those options is,
Well, the direct
Save a
bill
little
works
bit of
really
money.
well.
Works
It does.
great.
And so we'd like a list of
yeah.
who.
But I'll see if we can get that updated, and then we'll send it out as soon as it's updated.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, well. Masonic. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Please introduce yourselves.
I'm John Warner. I'm Secretary of the Pocatello Masonic Association.
Mike Sutton, President of the association.
Okay. Well, it looked like you missed a deadline.
Yes. And part of that is, and you guys can probably relate to this, we had elections in January, and when we change over, some of the outgoing don't always tell you everything that needs to be done. And we've been on top of it. We got the state and the federal government is now, we're back up, and we registered with them. We didn't lose any exemptions or anything, but we missed the deadline for here. And as soon as I got the bill, I called and said, hey, didn't even know about this. And so we went ahead and did the waiver.
Question?
Yeah, the one question that we have to ask is the use of the facility changed? Is it still?
Absolutely, no changes at all. We have 3 groups. We used to have dues and spend. We don't even have that anymore because we have such few members. All our expenses are just divided evenly among the 3 groups, and so we don't even have if we don't have any snow between now and January, we'll have about $200 in our checking account. If we got a snow, then that'll be gone.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the property tax exemption for the Masonic building as requested.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
So
you.
you will get your exemption.
Okay.
But we just require that if people miss the deadline, that they have to come before us and
We'll
follow
have
the
everything right
procedures.
after the first of the year for next year. I've got it already on my computer.
It helps them remember.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
you, sir.
gentlemen.
Mr. Robinson said he will be here, but I told him I couldn't, so.
Okay. Vineyard Church will be here. Carrie's not here. Daniel. Christie.
Christie Clauser, Comptroller. I have before you first is the signature on the 2022 Indigent Defense Expenditure Report. This is just the annual reporting that we have to do to show where monies were spent. First part shows money spent out of indigent, county operations, and contingency, and any other budget within the general funds, meaning general county funds, not general fund. The next page is the formula grant and then the workload grant.
our total expenditures for indigent last year were 1.9 million. Did I read that correctly?
Out of the regular funds, and then we had the 2 grants.
And the 2
Yeah.
grants, okay.
And if I could get that signature page from you, then I could submit that to Mark LaSalle, and then I'll just make sure that everybody that needs to gets a copy for the record.
And the 2 grants, one was 200,000, the other was 800,000?
Yep.
Ish? Okay,
235 and 210, or 810.
So again, just so the public knows, we spent close to $3 million on indigent services last year.
Yeah, and we get 202,000 in replacement monies a quarter,
Right?
for a total of 808,000 to go towards the 1.9 million.
Okay. Great.
So you're putting that on the record?
Let's just throw it out there. Okay. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the indigent report as presented.
Motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's the only thing I need to keep.
What's that?
Was there a signature on that?
Yeah, well, no,
Did
that,
you already sign it? Oh, do you want to sign it? Ernie just didn't give you the option.
I signed it.
I passed. There you go. Thanks.
The next item, well, let me jump forward. The road and bridge report, I did not get that completed. So I pushed that off to the 3rd. It's due on the 31st, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Only so much time in a day.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I didn't see anything here,
yeah.
so.
I had hopes that it would get done, but yesterday it didn't happen. The last thing I have for you is a quick, hopefully quick discussion on leases. As part of my lease reporting, we have to report if we are going to continue a lease, if it's going to be renewed, or if we're going to turn it back, or if we're going to purchase. So I was hoping to get direction from you, because this isn't my call, it's yours. On the sheriff's vehicles, I can see what the intent of the sheriff's office is. If you will agree with what they want, I don't know if they want to turn back all of their, renew leases for all of the sheriff's vehicles, or if they want to keep a couple of them. It seems like Teresa said they were going to keep the van and maybe 1 or 2 patrol cars.
I'd like the sheriff to come in and talk to us.
Okay.
That's, I appreciate you guys talking, but
Okay, he
but I
needs to
think
tell you
that-
what the intent is.
that it's
Okay.
one of those deals that,
Okay, we'll have to push this to the 3rd because I need these answers prior to getting all of the information that I have to put in our financials that are due in March.
okay.
And I have to get this information to Lease Query so that they can, so if I can set that for the 3rd.
Well, that'd be fine. Our original discussion was just compare what the lease was compared to what the vehicles are, and I haven't heard any reports back, so I'd like to
That
One of
was
the-
going to be my
have that
question as well.
information back.
One of the things through this process that I've discovered is we do not have interest information on any of our lease agreements. We also don't always have what the purchase price would be versus what the lease would be. And I think to make
Fair comparison.
we need to start getting that information. It's just kind of been doing leases and then
Go.
assuming that it's the best deal. Do you have a feel, or would you be ready to respond on the enterprise vehicle leases if we want to purchase those outright, or if we want to renew the leases? Or do you want to review this list that I've given you and then maybe get an answer or on the 3rd?
We'll have Shanda look into the enterprise ones,
What's to look into? If
what
we're
the
gonna-
trade-offs, what
Oh, okay.
enterprise's response back is if we traded them off, if we purchased them, and all that information.
It goes back to the thing you just said, what's our buyout versus another lease?
Okay, well,
Or am I
at
missing
this
something?
point, all I need to know is, we can change our mind, but I need to know what the intent is on them.
Well, the intent is to lease vehicles so we can cycle our
Okay.
fleet through.
So we could potentially assume that most of the enterprise leases, we're going to continue to lease.
Or trade in for a new lease.
Right,
Yeah.
continue,
Yes.
so we won't purchase them outright, okay? And then on the Summit ones, which is the road bridge and landfill, it was discussed that for the heavy equipment at the landfill, we would most likely continue to lease because they tend to get plenty of use.
Yes.
And then maybe on the other pieces, we would possibly purchase them. And I think they did do a purchase option on one of them. I don't know if it's on, I think the purchase was in '23, so I
On
think
one of the landfill vehicles?
road,
Or
not the
road.
vehicles, but the equipment.
Okay.
And that was built into the budget.
And it wouldn't hurt to have each department that leases come to this meeting
Okay,
so that we talk to each one of them, see what their feelings are, what,
Our, if I remember correctly, our general intent was to continue leasing so we can keep the fleet updated as opposed
Okay.
to
very much so.
buying and having an older fleet. So I think if you can enter the report, then we can still change our minds after.
Okay.
I'm okay moving forward like that.
okay. That helps me. I just need to respond on this because this has been a very big task, a lot more than I anticipated for our reporting. And as you can see, these are all of the leases.
Yeah.
We did have, the other item that's in your packet on the leases is a policy. And the benefit of this policy is all of our copiers we don't have to report on. If you are willing to approve a policy similar to this, and again, this can wait until the 3rd also, because I think we need to look at the dollar amount. Right now, all of our copier leases, if we were to have purchased them, would come up to $120,000. And the threshold that I preliminary put on here was 175, and that exempts us from having to report copier leases within our required reporting. So if you want to review this and possibly, hopefully approve this on the 3rd,
Okay.
if you have any changes you would like me to make, I can do so. The first page I have is a general rule, the county will avoid leases that do not transfer ownership at the end of the lease. I didn't know if we wanted to put that because I didn't know if that was true. So, but again, if I don't have this policy, then we have to report on,
So right now, our leases do not
Right,
give us
copiers.
that option?
huh?
Or is this specifically geared towards copiers, that
Yes.
last statement?
Yeah, that's all it's for. And that way I don't have to report 9 additional leases, which are copiers.
Look it over a little more thorough.
Okay.
I wasn't sure what all the discussion was going to be about.
Yeah.
Today.
And the price between the changing it from 120 to 175, is that just for an individual company, or is that just as a whole for an item or items?
Well, the reason we would put the 175 is because then that gives us a threshold. If we have a group of leases like copiers that fall under that threshold, then we don't have to report GASB 84.
Okay,
It gives us an exemption. And you can exempt up to, under the reporting requirements, you can have 2 categories that fall within that $175,000 range to not report.
okay.
And that came
So
from-
our copiers would be one, what would be another potential exemption?
Right now, we don't have one, but it just would give us that benefit of, basically, it's a cost benefit. It takes so much time to report on all those copiers. This allows us not to have to.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I just want to make sure, again, from a transparency issue, but per your email yesterday, that, okay.
Yeah, and I
I'm
worked with,
okay with that direction.
I worked with Teresa at Whipfly. In fact, she got me the sample policy from Bonneville School District. So that's what I used to make this policy. And she's worked with me on all of this.
Okay.
So,
Do you
okay.
have any general idea, as we try to get rid of the personal printers, do you have any general idea of how many more copiers we would have for the various areas to fill that need?
Adam should have all that,
Okay.
because I believe those are being tracked in City Works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he should be able to get you whatever those are. I don't.
I was just curious, I didn't know if you'd
We,
had that.
we have a couple of the copiers in our system. I can pull it, but
It's not-
he'd be able to get it faster.
I was just curious.
Okay, I'll reset this for the 3rd.
All right, thank you. Mr. Robinson? Come on, up, please. Go ahead and introduce yourself and who you represent, please.
My name is Race Robinson. I'm pastor of Christ-Led Vineyard Church at 415 South 2nd here in Pocatello.
It looks like you missed a deadline.
Yeah, somehow I didn't get the letter, I guess. Got tossed in the mail or something.
Okay. Well, you're entitled to the property tax exemption.
Has
Mr. Huff
the,
has a question for
has
you.
the usage of the property changed over the past year, or is it still church?
It's just, yeah, primarily just a church
Okay.
ministry.
Primarily, is there any other uses that you have for it there, or do something different other than a church?
No, sometimes someone will want to use it for meeting, for example, the Christian Rodeo Cowboys Association, they have their meetings there once a month, and different people that we, have a relationship with that we let use. Or sometimes somebody will want to do a wedding or something like that.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the tax exemption request for Christ Vineyard Church as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So we've granted it. I just encourage you to make sure you fill this out ahead of time next year,
Yeah, I used to do, I just missed.
or you'll come visit us again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Carrie? Good morning.
For the record, Kerry Hong, Trial Court Administrator, joined by
Jason Dye, Deputy Trial Court Administrator.
All right. Go ahead.
we got something, I think, exciting and really focused on better serving the public. We presented to you a service agreement between E-Court date and then also Bannock County seeking signature on it. What this is, it's a text and email notification system that we would propose using primarily, or at least to begin with, pretrial services to keep better in contact with persons who have court dates. But what it does is it allows us to purchase about 50,000 texts per year, set up an automated system where we run a report out of our case management system. We worked closely with Adam McKinney. He actually identified this company as his recommendation of who to work with. There's a file, and I'm going to say these words, but don't ask me to explain them in detail, but it's a file transfer site, and so we basically put our report in the FTP site that Bannock County manages, and it already exists. eCorp Notify will pull that data and then send out these text notifications kind of per our specification. In other jurisdictions that have used this, they found that text notification increases people's attendance in these court hearings. It's also generally appreciated by the public. So we'd start with giving court notifications of upcoming hearings, but we'd also like to expand out to other options such as upcoming dates for payment. And then we'd also contemplated using this for jury notification, but with the project we're currently working on at the state, it appears, at least for this year, the state would pick up the cost of text notification for jurors. So the money is budgeted in this year's district court fund. The cost is $2,499 for this year. We did get legal's advice, and you'll notice item number 37 on the service agreement is the fail to appropriate clause, which would allow us to leave the agreement if there weren't any monies appropriated for it.
Will 50,000 texts be enough?
So that's a great question. In talking to Evie, who I think where we're going to pilot this out, it's going to be enough for the pilot. If we see that it's useful and there's a higher level of demand, there is options to purchase more additional text. There is unlimited email as well, and so we can kind of balance how we use those 50,000 texts. And ultimately, if it's successful, Commissioner, this year, and we expect that it will make a noticeable improvement in our customer satisfaction and our attendance of court, then we'd come back and talk to the commission about potentially purchasing more techs in future years.
So Evie's gonna try this through her PSA stuff first?
Yeah, and so what we'll look at is she's collecting from persons who've been placed on pretrial cell phone numbers, and so it's on an opt-in basis, right? So we're not going to be sending unsolicited texts to people in Bannock County. So they've been ordered to check in with the court, and of course, they've been ordered to obey the law and to attend all future hearings. Once Evie's team gathers that information, it'll be put into the Odyssey supervision module, and then the report will pull those texts out, and we'll use it for court services, PSA, purposes first, and then spread it out once we validate that it's working how we want to use it.
How will you measure success?
So we can run some reports within Odyssey right now on failure to appear. And so failure to appear has a bunch of different consequences. I mean, of course, there's opportunity costs. We've scheduled a hearing, and if someone no-shows for that hearing, prosecutor's office, public defender's office, private counsel, the court, we all miss an opportunity to dispose of the case. So we want to make sure we're efficiently using court time. And the other negative consequences is potentially a court could issue a warrant for that person for failure to appear. If that warrant gets served, not quashed, they end up spending time in the sheriff's custody, and we all pay the cost of that. So our key measurement of success is looking at FTA rate pre-implementation and FTA rate post-implementation for persons who are getting these text notifications. So there's an actual hard metric that we can come back and look at. And it's not, this project really isn't said that it's going to eliminate FTAs, but in other jurisdictions, it's like a 5 or 6% reduction in failure to appear, which when we go across thousands of cases, it's a significant cost savings for a pretty low-level investment on our end.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if you're gonna have a control group, or you were just gonna measure against previous and compare and do that, so.
Yeah, we could, I mean, we have historical, we could do some smaller ones too. A lot of, one of the reasons why we don't have a really robust evaluation plan is that when we've looked at other data where these text notifications have been put into place, they've kind of given us a pretty good sample size for persons on pretrial that it measurably reduces failure to appear. But we can still pull that data and kind of report back to the commission of what it's looking like.
Well, I have no doubt that it'll make a difference. And so my question is, why not roll it out across all of the court services instead of just pretrial?
Oh,
If the data suggests it's gonna work, why wait?
So with project implementation like this, that involves this kind of technical, we have to trust the Supreme Court to pull the data, we got to make sure the cell information is. I just want to start small so we don't confuse people on getting text notifications on different things. So I have a lot of hope that it's going to work not only for persons on court services, but any person who has a criminal hearing or even a civil hearing. And then you can see there's a lot of options in here that are end user configurable.
Yeah.
So if the county saw a need for notification of folks outside of the court system for county events or other things, and I know we have some different notification systems right now, but we could use something similar, whether it's email or text notification, that we could expand out to better serve the public. I mean, these things get me to the dentist appointment on time, which is a huge lift. So I can only imagine it's going to help members of the public get to court hearings, make sure they're paying their financials, attending any, anything that the commission or the county wanted to try and prompt people to show up on time for, so give them reminders.
What's your trial period with Evie? You just gonna do like 60 days, 90 days?
Yeah, so we have, in that project plan, there's about a 2-month stand-up period of time where they do some training with us. They start looking at our data, and we run some tests. I haven't defined with Evie of how long we want to try and measure it. I'm thinking if we look at 90 days, because these pretrial hearings, they get set 14 days after initial appearance. So if we look at 90 days, we'd basically have kind of 8 cohorts of people who've gotten text notification as they've been given the order to be for pretrial and they've been placed on court services. So I think we could start looking at data pretty quick.
Yeah, you should see some immediate stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
You've talked with Adam, and he's backing this.
Yeah, it was one of those deals where I don't know this space, and so I reached out to him and said, hey, can you help me try and identify a vendor that you think would work well within Bannock County's operation, that isn't going to lean on your team a lot for support, and you think technically is right, and this is the one that he recommended. And he sat in on the calls with Ibrahim, who's the founder of the organization, And we've worked with Adam the whole way through on this.
And I know nothing is scam-proof, but with the sheriff's office having the problems they did this week with people making phone calls and saying they was the sheriff's office.
Oh, gosh.
Requesting monies. I mean, is there a safeguard in this situation where?
In the service agreement, there's some language in there that talks about both encryption of our site where we have administrative control, where we control the frequency and the language that goes in there. And so it's password protected and encrypted. I haven't asked Adam, and we could ask Adam if he has any concerns about how we need to better protect the administrative website where we're basically pushing our data and using the system to send out the text.
Is this an opt-in system?
Yeah, and that's what we're starting on right now. I mean, we might look at how we're going to do the opt-ins. One of the ideas that we've had on the criminal side is at initial appearance or arraignment to go ahead and get the opt-in right then.
Yeah.
But where we are right now is they must have been placed on court services supervision, so assigned to Evie's team, and then Evie would do the opt-in. If we get bigger than that, then we'll have to think through of how to get the election of the person that they want to receive a text notification. And there always is they have the ability to do the yes, no to stop receiving.
Right.
And so if there is one that's, I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect, that we might send a text to someone who didn't opt in, but they could immediately text back no and cancel the text.
Yeah. Okay, I just know some of these people won't take your data unless you have the opt-ins already there, so.
Sure.
If you've worked with them in the beginning, so should be good. Okay, thank you for answering my questions.
My pleasure.
I like this stuff, so. Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we go ahead and approve the e-court date automated notification system contract as presented.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Hey, it's good seeing you.
Merry
Haven't seen
Christmas.
you
It's
for a
been
while.
a minute.
Yeah.
Do we have contact? Is Commissioner Tubby coming back this year? Or I know I missed his farewell.
I'm not positive.
If I reach out, you guys have some contact information for him.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Yep,
give him my best wishes.
All right, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Look like Daniel.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Dan Kendall, Project Manager.
Ashley Ford, Maintenance Technician.
Danny Whitworth, Facilities Assistant.
Here for our monthly update. The big push this month so far has been the snow removal. Again, we watch our phones and we have the access to the cameras. We're here at 4 a.m. when we get a snow day, so it's really taken a lot of our time this month. It's been a learning experience, but I think it's going well. Ashley finished up her project at the Sterling Building for the Public Defenders. That's been wrapped up, so that's great. Mr. Whitworth finished up his project.
Probably in 2 weeks then, not next week, the following week. Let's go over and look at that.
Okay.
Not to evaluate you, just to see what
I've got to
we
go over and
okayed the
check
money
what,
on.
I don't know what they've done since I worked on it. They could have destroyed it.
Well, we'll
I'll
put the
check.
blame where the blame goes and the
I'll
credit
check.
where the credit goes.
I'll check before I take you over.
Better than nothing.
Mr. Whitworth finished up moving the jury commission down to room 210.
Looks great, good job.
Turned out great. Ashley finished up her project replacing the flooring in McCammon of the Road and Bridge building.
Looks awesome.
Much better, yeah. She's been cleaning it at least once a week as well, so they're looking good.
Good.
The stairway is getting painted. We're done with that, so that project's done. So that's nice to have that one wrapped up. Still trying to find a roofer that wants to work this time of year on the roof overhangs over the steps. We have several leaks on several buildings that, actually some of them are still the original roof.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we'll get, we have our third roofer to come look at it, see if we can talk him into working in the temperatures and the weather and all that stuff, so. The water damage on the front of the courthouse has been repaired, so that was,
Looks good too.
yeah, can't hardly tell, so they did a nice job. I did upgrade the Microsoft project software. We're gonna try the kind of the upgraded version. The one I tried was the $10 a month basic. We're gonna try a little upgrade and see what that has to offer. I am finding it's hard to follow the project timeline because when it snows, we're done. So
Things change.
It is Idaho.
yeah. We started researching lease options for that truck we talked about last month. That 1-ton Ford truck with a single cab, maybe trying to get a half-ton, better gas mileage. Got to do some more research on it. The first truck we looked into was actually $300 more a month. So we'll maybe look at it again and see if we can figure out a better priced
And you
option.
heard our conversation earlier? Was
Yeah.
you in here?
A little bit.
So on the 3rd, Shanda's gonna look at vehicles and different things, our leases, and we're gonna have a conversation about what
Okay.
we're gonna do,
Okay.
what direction we wanna go.
Okay. We just got done removing all the drinking fountains that were either non-functioning or not ADA compliant, so we're down just the good new ones that we put in, so that was something we wanted to get done for a long time. But our goal for, until we see you again, is room 218. Got the jury room looking pretty good, and now we're starting to frame in the courtroom, so. It's always fun to get all the judges' input. Everybody wants some, a little tweak here and a little tweak there, but I think we've got it down now to where we're gonna be framing for the rest of the day today and get that wood ordered next week. And
Well, it's good to have the judges' input, but they don't have the final say.
that's right, that's right.
Right here on this table.
That's right. Yeah, mostly just to do with a little bit of layout concerns and sight lines and that kind of thing. It's just minor, but I want it to turn out perfect, so. But that's what we got for you this month.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And while he's up, just so you know, we talked about it the other day, and this is applicable to this conversation, is we're going over to the new building today with a couple of contractors so that we can get a better idea of what costs are going to go where for our next meeting.
Good.
Great.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
exciting too.
All right.
All I can say
Good
is,
job, team.
every time I go into the restrooms, you did an amazing job.
Well, thank you.
That, I mean, that's changed the courthouse.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I'm super happy with the cleaning contractor. My phone doesn't ring, and that's wonderful. It
Good.
used to take up a ton of my time, so it's been really great.
Good. It's good to hear.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Chantel.
Okay, so we do have one item for indigent business that will require an executive session.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we enter into executive session under Idaho Code 74-206, 1D, to consider records.
Says C.
Oh, C and D, did I miss? Oh, C, okay. No, it is D, because we're here with Chantel.
Oh,
To consider, yeah,
oh, I'm sorry.
records that are exempt from disclosure.
Commissioner Moser?